We are live. Guys, welcome. It is another Monday, and super excited for you guys to be joining me on this one. And this week is a really cool topic because we're going to be talking about how to get your team to help you, right? And not just getting them to help you because it's their job, but getting them to help you do things because they want to, because they really come in and they want to help your business succeed, right? And full transparency, I've had teams that did not want to do that, right? It was clear that it was just a paycheck for them, and it took me a while to change the culture. It took me a while to change, um, just the type of individuals that were working for me, right? And a lot of it came with my leadership style. And so today I thought it would be a great video to make because we dropped a video in here by mistake. If you don't know, Perfect Gym Model is our program, and we have a group for everybody that's going through that called the Perfect Gym Model. All of our clients that we work with, gym owners on a daily basis, help them crush. We do group coaching calls on a weekly basis. Now they do have private one-on-one coaching calls with their coach that is specific to their business, but also once a week we do group coaching calls where we answer questions, and uh, they talk with me and Jason and everybody. And we accidentally dropped that video in this group. And I think a lot of you guys probably watched it, where we're talking about team building. We were talking about leadership, talking about how to hire the ideal employees. And so this video, if you haven't watched it, by the way, go watch that because it's something that we would give to our clients, right? This one is not once you've acquired those individuals, right? What's the next step? How can they help you, right? And I can't tell you how many times I've felt like, dude, I feel like I'm doing everything here. I mean, besides the workouts, like classes, I feel like I'm doing all the work, like as far as getting new customers, like making sure my events are a success, like marketing, anything, everything that has to do with running your gym. I felt like I was doing all of it. And literally my coaches were just coming in, training and leaving. And at times, like I felt jealous of them. I'm like, dude, I own the business and I'm jealous of this guy because he doesn't have to do anything besides just the most fun part, which is training clients. Like, dude, what gives? And then you start becoming like resentful of your employees and like upset that that's all they're doing. But you never asked them to do anything else. Or if you did, you didn't tell them how to help you, right? And so like you're mad at them for not doing anything besides just training, but you didn't really give them a game plan or give them goals or tell them how to reach those goals. And if they did reach those goals, like what do they get for it, right? And so it took me a while and just some introspection into like, how do I change this? Right? How do I make it so my team is doing the majority of the work, not me, right? Because I'm the owner here, right? And there's things that only I can do, which is always going to be the case. But how do I only do those things, right? And how do I? Sorry, I was getting busted into while I'm live. Um, how do I only do those things, and how do I not it wasn't coming from a point of not wanting to do those, but it's like, man, I have such a big team. Even if you have 5 6 7 coaches, like can't we just lessen the load a little bit on me, and incentivize everyone else to hit goals along with the business, so then it's not as hard on one person while everyone else is just kind of training. So that is what we're going to talk about today, and how I was able to do that, and how you guys can do the exact same thing. And it's not as difficult as you think at all, right? It's just a couple pieces of advice that I never had, right? And hopefully, if I can give that to you, you could have these conversations with people on your team. And it goes one of two ways. Either like, dude, 100%, let's rock and roll. Or they're like, well, I've never had to do any of this stuff before. And now you're asking me to do stuff and I don't really want to, or like, I don't think it's fair, or whatever it may be. And that's going to be your team members that are afraid of change, right? They don't want to adapt, and you got a decision to make, you know. either continue doing things exactly how you are, which is you doing all of them because your team doesn't want to adapt, right? Which is usually the easier way to do it because you don't want to have a tough conversation. Or the other option is you find a team that is aligned over time, not like, okay, then you're all gone, right? You find a team that is willing to take on a role that includes them doing other things outside of training, right? And it might take time. You hire one trainer, right? And you teach them exactly what you want them to do. Now, their job might be a little bit different than the current staff, right? Who is unwilling to change, but you can't just gut your whole staff. And I've heard gurus say that before, like if they don't want to, change with you, then you got to find a team that will. And so it's time to get rid of them. Like, dude, you can't just fire your whole team because you found a new way to do things. You found the right way to do things, right? You can't just say like, this is the way it is, or else, none of you guys work here, because it's just going to be worse on your quality of life and worse on your business. Is it the right thing to do? In time, not overnight, right? And so what I would say is if after you watch this video and I teach you how to have these conversations with your team, so they have your new expectations, which is you not doing everything yourself, they either are on board with it right away, and because you are able to articulate why you want to make these changes, or you're giving yourself time to find the right team. Be like, okay, I totally get it. This isn't necessarily what you signed up for. I understand that. I thought I did a good job of explaining how this is going to help us. You seemed like somebody that really wanted to help us, but no hard feelings. And ultimately what you're doing is you're going to go out and hire their replacement, right? You're going to hire somebody that you have plenty of time to train, to build up, to be the exact type of employee that you ultimately would love to have. And then at the right time, you're going to have that tough conversation with the employee that's unwilling to change, right? Or adapt. And, it's nothing, the company has pivoted, right? The company has changed directions, and you no longer feel like they are willing to go into the direction that you need right now, and so, but you have another employee that is ready to go, ready to rock and roll and trained up. And you would systematically do this. And it's exactly what I did, right? And it took me, 6 months to pluck out the 4 or 5 coaches that when I found the right way, and I had this conversation with my staff, I had like 3 or 4 coaches that were like, hell yeah, let's freaking rock, because you're incentivizing them to, right? But there's just some people that do not want to do any more work or do not want anything to change whatsoever, right? And no matter what you say, they are going to disagree with it or not want to do it or complain about it, right? Now, unfortunately, you maybe hired them before you knew the exact type of team you wanted to have, and you can't go back and change that. So you probably brought on the wrong kind of people. Moving forward, we don't want to bring on anybody that is unwilling to change or adapt or anything like that. And we know that now, but back then we didn't know that. They were just great trainers and we brought them on board. So ultimately you can't let those people stay in your culture forever, because they will rub off on anybody else that you bring in. And those people will become like unwilling to change, because during normal conversations they'll be like, yeah, I can't believe you're doing all of this stuff. I don't have to do, you know what I mean? And so there's a very specific way to do it, which I'm going to show you. But in 6 months or less, you'll be able to have a team full of employees that want to go above and beyond and help the business crush. Right. And that's ultimately where I think everybody would like to be. I don't know anybody that would want a team full of people that just want to do the minimum, right? Even if that's the expectations that you set from the beginning, you always have the ability to change, right? You're the entrepreneur. You are the business owner. You own the gym, right? And you are learning things constantly. And when you learn something, you have 2 choices. One is to say, wow, that's amazing information, and do something about it, and then apply that change to your business, right? So then you bear the fruits of that. Or is, wow, that's amazing information, I should have done that, and then you do nothing with it, right? And that's your choice to make. That's why some entrepreneurs and business owners take massive action and have really successful businesses, because they learn something. Trust me, nobody knows everything on day one when they open their business, right? They don't. They know just what they knew before. But you're always learning. So the guys that are out there crushing it, it's because they learned something, and then they take action and they apply it to their business, and then their business changes, and it changes for the better, because they did what they learned, and they're like, wow, this is true, right? The people that don't make any changes, that don't adapt, that don't learn anything new, don't make any actual impactful changes at their business, well, of course they're not going to grow, right? They're not going to grow because nothing's different. And so if you are somebody that hears something and says, wow, that's a great idea, I think that would be a way better way to do it, then obviously this would apply to you, right? So let's go into that training now. Let's go into that. And the first thing first is having the conversation with your staff, right? And there's actually two conversations that you want to have when you first decide to roll out a new change to your business, right? Whether it is a change in what they need to do for their role, right? And so if you're unsure, we use what's called 4Rs documents. You can Google, or you can search for it in this group, and you'll see, right? And that would be part of their role, their responsibility, the requirements of that role, and then ultimately the results, right? What results are you expecting from their position? You're giving them money, right, every week or 2 weeks or whatever. What do you expect in exchange for that? Okay. And so before we get into the 4Rs, the first conversation that you're going to want to have is a team conversation with everybody. Okay. And that's where you're going to sit down and talk with them about your company's mission, right? And that's what the entire meeting should be about, is your mission. What is your objective? Why does your company exist? And who are you trying to serve, right? It can't just be about making money. It has to be for a bigger purpose. Trust me, your coaches work for you, with you, right? Because they are purpose driven. They want to help other people. They want to do their passion, right? And if they were strictly driven by money or finances, they would be a stockbroker. They would go into jobs that do not invoke any kind of passion, right? But it's there for a check, right? There's manual labor jobs. There's a ton of jobs that your coaches could do that arguably pay more, right? But their quality of life won't be any better, right? And they know that. They understand that. They know how great of a job they have. They know that, trust me, they know that what they're doing for a living, coaching people to get better results, is a pretty sweet freaking deal, right? And if you're like me, you pay them accordingly, because they are a professional service, right? They know that. They have friends. They know their friends are landscaping for $15 an hour, 10 hours a day in the middle of the sun. They don't want to do that. They know the other options out there. And so your coaches are with you for a reason, right? And that same exact reason is how you can get them to want to accomplish the mission with you, right? But first, you need to explain what the mission is. Now, that's where this team meeting comes in, and you can gather everybody together, right, in the gym, have them, sit on whatever, stability balls or plyo boxes or something, and you say, look, guys, it's a new year. I've been really, really focused on why it is we do what we do. Everybody knows what we do here, but why is it that we do that, right? And obviously in the Perfect Gym model, we tell you exactly what to say and do, and you just got to have the meeting. I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially, the idea is to develop your mission statement and then roll that out to your team. And it's like, guys, our mission is this year, 2021, we want to help 300 local community people have the transformation of their life, right? We want to impact them so their life is significantly better than it was before they met us, right? If we can do that, I feel like our purpose for our business will have been successful, right? Does everybody agree with that? Is that why we're here, right? And once you have the mission, right, then you can start making decisions on whether or not it gets you closer to accomplishing that mission or not, right? So the first meeting that you want to have with them is really to get them on board with your mission and get them to agree that that is exactly why they're here, okay? After you have that meeting and it's a big success, at the end of the meeting, you want to schedule one-on-one sessions with each one of your staff members, okay? And and have it be at least, a few days out. Don't have it be like the same exact day. Have it be a few days out or a week out. And this is where you're going to give them their 4Rs document, right? And you said, hey, I've been thinking a lot about your role. Okay, and whether it's an ops manager, a coach, a front desk, I mean, everybody needs to be involved in contributing to the mission, right? Because they're all going to have a certain result that you expect from them. Okay, and so you sit down with them. Now, this is one-on-one, right? Because you don't want them to be influenced by something that somebody else would say if they never had that thought for themselves. As an example, if you're talking with one of your coaches and you want them to start taking on more responsibilities because after thinking about it, it is going to be their ability to help you contribute to a successful mission, right? Hey, Coach Bill, that meeting that we just had about mission, I've been thinking a lot about you, and I think you can do so much more than what you're doing now to really help us win, right? And here's some things that I had in mind, okay? And this is where you're rolling out the new things to them. Like, hey, you are so good with clients and everybody just absolutely loves you. I think it would be absolutely huge if you were able to promote yourself to your client base and, bring a couple people in because they would love you as much as their clients love you, right? And I think that would make it so much easier for us to hit that 300 by the end of the year. What do you think about that? And like, yeah, I can do that. Awesome. So to keep it organized, right? Let's say, I don't know, 2 people per month. Do you think that's fair? I think if you're able to bring in 2 people per month, that's really going to help all of us because, that ends up being, 20 people at the end of the year. That's a huge chunk of people that you could be directly responsible for that would love to train with you because you are XYZ, right? And so now you are giving them the requirement, the responsibility of bringing in referrals, okay? And of course, I'm just letting you know, and there's specific ways you would then want to arm them on how to do this, right? We teach it in the Perfect Gym model, but how to bring in those referrals. You got to tell them how to do it, right? How to be successful, okay? There's quite a few different ways. You could say like, look, in order to be successful doing that, this is how you do it, right? This is how you bring people in and they will train with you or whatever it may be, okay? Also in that meeting with the 4Rs, right? You're going to be like, look, these customers, like these clients that you work with, they absolutely love you, right? In order for us to help accomplish the mission, I need to focus a little bit more on marketing. I've looked at what I'm doing every day, and I'm just not focusing enough on marketing or events or whatever you need to focus more on. Would you be okay if you took care of the customer service issues with just your clients? I'm not saying everybody, but like if they need to put their membership on hold, if they need to add sessions, if they need whatever it may be, if they have any customer service related things, would it be okay if you took care of that and answered those for them? And that way it would free me up to do the other stuff so I can help us accomplish the mission as well. Right now I'm pretty much out of time, but if I could get some of that time back by you helping me do X, Y, and Z, I mean, that would be huge for us as a team. Is that something you'd be willing to do? Does that sound reasonable? Right? And so you have this conversation with them, be like, awesome. Well, I'm going to write that down. I'm going to make sure that I have that all on paper. And then finally, it's like, look, we're really big at selling these transformation programs, and you're probably going to get, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 clients this year you're going to help them transform, right? But I mean, obviously, that by the time that this program is over, their transformation program, they're probably going to have new goals, right? Would you be okay? Would you be comfortable, writing up a new program for them and getting their payment method and setting those new goals and all of that? Does that sound like something that you'd be cool with doing? I mean, you have a great rapport with them, right? Or even just reselling them what they initially did. Yeah, I can do that. Great. So just to make sure that we have that down as well, I'm gonna put down, you're gonna be taking care of your own customers, renewing them into longer programs or whatever it may be. See, so now you're starting to build this list of responsibilities that you are passing from yourself onto them with their permission to, right? Because you're doing it in a way that you're having this intimate conversation and explaining to them why it makes sense. Do you see the difference between doing it like how I'm saying and just holding a team meeting and saying, look, guys, it's time for all of you to pull your weight, right? So here's some new documents and this is what you're doing now. Do you see the difference? Now, ultimately, you're trying to get the same result, but how effective that your ability to navigate that conversation will play a massive role in if you actually get that result from your employees or not, right? And so each position's a little bit different on what you are going to be passing off to them, right? If you have an admin or an ops manager, there's specific things that you want to pass off to them where it makes perfect sense that they would absorb that from you as the owner. So you as the owner can focus on X, Y, and Z, which helps everybody win, which helps everybody accomplish the mission. Now, of course, if you're asking them to do things that is work that they weren't doing before, you need to pay them for it, right? Now, whether that is incentivizing a trainer who never sold before into earning commission on sales he makes, right? But I can almost guarantee that if a trainer does let's say a $1,000 sale, right? And you pay him 10% commission, you pay him $100 for making that sale, but you as the owner had nothing to do with it, right? And you were free to focus on whatever you needed to focus on, right? And you didn't have that conversation, the pricing, the overcomes, all that stuff. You could absolutely make more than $100, right? Easily. Now, think about that with other duties that don't even yield a $100 commission. What are you doing that your ops manager or your admin could do, right? That you could pay $20, $15, probably $15 per hour, right? What are you doing? And would they be willing to do it? I think so, especially if you phrased it in the way that it's going to help everybody win, right? Now, if you have employees that are completely like, nope, don't want to do any of this stuff. I appreciate you having this conversation with me, but it's not what I signed up for. And let them be. You're like, okay, I understand. I completely understand where you're coming from. In your head, you're like, well, I don't fucking agree with it, but I understand what you're saying. That is when you are going to start looking for their replacements, unbeknownst to them. So obviously, you're not going to tell them that you're doing this, but you are going to find the person that does want to rock and roll with you, because that's what you've earned as a business owner. That is what you've earned for taking the risk that you've taken. These guys telling you no, they do not, there's no downside for them, right? If the business is unprofitable next month, they're not kicking in anything, right? There's no, they're taking the best parts of the job and saying, I only want to do the best parts, right? And that's unreasonable. In my opinion, it's unreasonable. And so there's no reason why. You've given them the opportunity to change and adapt, and they have declined it, right? So you will replace them, but don't shoot yourself in the foot and be like, well, sorry, you no longer fit here. That's going to create a huge turmoil within your business, and it's going to make you look like a bad leader, a cutthroat, my way or the highway leader, right? You're going to use your emotional intelligence and be like, 100%, I understand, right? I get it, Bring on somebody new, train them to the best of your ability, and train them yourself, right? And then have that conversation when it makes sense. Hey, Coach Bill, I really appreciate your support. I really appreciate everything you've done for us. But like we talked about a few months ago, like our company has a new mission, and we need everybody that's here contributing to that mission. The last time we talked, it didn't seem like you are interested in helping us in the new direction that we're going. So because of that, we just no longer need your services. And I understand that it might be difficult. So, and then you go into your normal routine of how you would offboard, how would you get somebody out of your system, right? And then you replace them with the new team member and absorb whatever collateral damage comes your way. Something is going to come your way. It always does, whether it's a lot or a little. Obviously, we try to all minimize it and be a little, like, we don't want clients to leave. We don't want whatever. But trust me, even if it's the worst thing that could happen, in 12 months from now, you will be so much better off with a strong team member that really wants to see you guys accomplish the mission and do all of these things than if you were just to put up with Coach Bob, who's not doing shit. Because guess what? He is a disease that will infect the rest of your team, because they will see him and they will see his attitude and they will see his unwillingness to do anything else. They will see all of that and they will think that that is what you tolerate, right? And your standards are simply just what you are willing to tolerate. If you have low standards, it is because you are willing to tolerate a lot of shit. If you have high standards, it's because you're not willing to tolerate a lot, right? But either way, you don't have to say anything. Your team will form their own opinions on what your standards are. And by leaving Coach Bob there, it's not going to be good opinions, right? So you'll be doing yourself a disservice by keeping somebody that isn't down with what you need to do to win as a company. Okay, so once you have these conversations with each one of your staff members, that is when they are giving you that is when they are really letting you know if they are with you or if they're focused on themselves, right? And they don't have to say it. Just their response to the conversation, because it's not about you as the owner, it's about you guys completing the mission and winning, right? Their response to that after you have your one-on-ones with them will be very telling to see if they're gonna move in the right direction or the direction that you wanna move in or not. Once you have all of that done and you've had all of those conversations about 4 hours and the responsibilities that you want them to take, which I'll give you, but at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about what I think they should be doing. But once you've had that conversation, you should have freed yourself up from a lot of responsibilities that you are doing now that you could easily pass off to your staff members, right? And how to compensate them. And then once you do compensate them, how do you make more money with the time that you have back as the owner? Like, because you should be not just sitting at home doing nothing, you should be making a lot more money with that new time that you have back, right? And your team should want to crush it because you've explained to them it's about accomplishing this mission. And every single thing that you've asked them to do is moving you closer to that, right? So you can have team parties, you can have events, you can have all of this stuff once you accomplish the mission. The final piece of the puzzle is holding them accountable to what they agreed to do, right? You need to hold them accountable to the 4 R's document. And so that's where we use something like the scoreboard system. Now, I know not all of you know what that is. I will show you an example of it. I have one right next to me, but it is essentially the results portion of what they agreed to. So you have this 4 R's document, you showed them exactly how to do all of it. And they said, yep, I'll do it. Well, if you don't hold them accountable to that, then they're not going to try as hard to accomplish these certain things than if you do hold them accountable. Same thing as like weight loss clients. So let me grab the scoreboard and I'll show you. So this is an older version of it. Pretty big here, as you can see. This is something that I would put up in the office where they have their break. But as you can see, it has the team members and it has the goals that I gave them. Now, your goals might be different, right? It's all dry erase. Your goals might be different, but I want my coaches to maintain a certain amount of active clients. So what does that mean? It means that if you want to work full time for me here, I want you to be all in. And so I think being all in is having 20 clients, right? 20 clients that you are responsible for. Remember the customer service stuff that we talked about? I mean, you are responsible for all of this stuff, right? From them upgrading, downgrading, freezing their membership, canceling, getting results, right? Weighing them in. I mean, we go into detail in FitBiz, but that is essentially like part of the conversation that we had. And so if our goal is to help 300 people, then you need to be responsible for a certain amount of them, right? And you agreed to it. The next column would be like, okay, challengers to convert. So if you're running a challenge, this is our old one, which is why it's sitting in here. We don't do it like this anymore. We do trials. We do, 7-day trials, and we want them to continue with their coach, right? After the 7 days. Well, how many people did I give you that are on a 7-day trial? Okay. Well, how many of those people continued afterwards? Right? And you should give them a goal, right? As an example, if I gave you 4 people that started our transformation program trial, right? Which for you could be whatever, but I pair them up with one of my coaches. And I tell my coach, like, look, it's not unreasonable that if I give you somebody who comes here that's very motivated to get results and I assign them to you, I just want 2 of those 4 to not quit. Right? They don't have to resell them anything. I've already done that in the initial meeting. Just have them not back out, right? And so now they have a goal and they can see what everybody else's goal is and everybody can see what their goals are. And so if they're not accomplishing it, it looks like they're not contributing to the mission and you don't have to call them out. You don't have to say anything to them. It's right in front of everyone. Everyone can see it, right? But the cream always rises to the top. Right? And so if you have a staff member that is really into helping you and really into these things, they are going to show up on here and they're going to look like all-stars. Well, now it's playing off that competitive nature that most coaches already have. Okay. So then we get to the next column. Well, you said that you would be okay with helping me, renew these clients or sell or bring in referrals, right? Yeah, I said that would be cool. Okay. Well, I mean, obviously that's going to result in sales contracts. So would it be reasonable to give you a goal of, I don't know, $2,000, right? If our normal contract is this amount, like, would it be cool to give you a goal of, like, let's just say $2,000 for the month from these renewals and these new people that we're bringing in? Yeah, sure. I think that would be cool, right? So now they have goals. Now, obviously ours are a lot different. We have, bigger goals, smaller goals. I'm not gonna get into the weeds of exactly how we do this stuff. I'm just kind of showing you the what to do and why to do it. Again, guys, if you want to know the how to do it, that's what the perfect gym model is. It shows you exactly how. Okay. The next column over is team standards. Okay. So if we want to contribute to, the mission, and we want to give our clients the absolute best experience possible, like, we have certain standards here, guys. Like, you can't come in late to workouts. You can't be on your cell phone texting on the floor while you're supposed to be training. You can't be, not in uniform. You cannot be putting profanity on the radio. You can't, like, there's certain things that we do here, right, to maintain the standards. And I don't want you to think just because you got a lot of sales that you can do whatever the hell you want. It don't work like that, right? I need you to hold the line, right? We are all a reflection of each other. That's how a team works, right? And so I'm going to give you a big list of what the standards are, okay? That way you know what we expect from you. The last thing I'd want is to have conversations with you about not meeting our standards, and I never set the expectations in the beginning. That would be really unfair of me. So what I'm going to do is give you a list of our standards. Now, of course, we give those to you in FitBiz, and it's in the employee handbook version that we give you. But it basically breaks down like what I think are ideal standards that make a really squared away good team. And it's not about like exercise or any of that stuff. It's about being a great employee. Okay. And I'm going to start you off every single month with 100 points. Okay. All I'm asking is don't violate the standards, right? Don't lose your points. So if you come in without a work uniform on and you're training in a tank top that has ketchup all over it, like that doesn't look very good, right? And that doesn't reflect well on the rest of the team, which you are affecting the rest of the team. You may think it's only you, right? But you are a reflection of all of us and our organization, right? And the standards and the opinions that our customers form, right? And if they form bad opinions about us, do you think they want to refer people to us? Well, probably not. So I'm going to have to give you 75 out of it, or I got to take 25 points off your standards, right? Trainers absolutely hate when you are taking standards off in front of everybody else because they're not squared away, right? And they'll have conversations with you, but I'll tell you what, they'll never do it again, right? And so that's part of what we do. If you sell supplements, right? If you have that conversation, be like, look, wouldn't you say that 10% of your customers are buying supplements? Like just say a very low amount, right? And they say, yeah, I would say about probably 20%. Great. Okay, let's say 10%. Now you have 20 clients. We saw that, right? So 10% is two of them. Would it be okay if we just had you sell two of them a package this month on whatever? They say, yeah, I think I could do that, because you can't really buy more than a month's worth of supplements. At least, when you buy a protein jug, it usually lasts you a month, or a pre-workout or whatever, right? So they'll run out at some point in time. Would you just renew them into buying more product through us? Yeah, I can do that. Great. So then you give them a goal, right? Now here it's one. You can do two, you can do whatever you want. And you're not even saying like, hey, you got to sell a certain amount. Just get your clients used to taking our products because they're buying them anyways, right? If they're not buying them anyways, that's fine. But I don't want to hear that excuse because I only gave you a goal of 1 out of 20 clients. I know a lot of them are not buying them anyways, which is why your goal is not 20. It's why it's 1. Okay. So it's not unreasonable. But if you do that, if you see, you guys get what I'm getting at here, is if I have 10 coaches, that's 10 different supplement packs that I have nothing to do with. It's completely delegated, all because I had this conversation. Now, what does that ultimately lead to? Well, how did they do? This one got 100%. How did they do across all of the different categories? Well, if they did everything you asked them to do, they scored 90, 100, 110%, whatever it may be, you should probably give them a reward, a bonus, right? Or what happens if your team hits 100% as a goal? Let me put this away quick. So what happens if your team hits the goal that you set for them, 100%, right? Can't you see how powerful that is for your business, right? It's extremely powerful if your team is maintaining their own clients, they're maintaining their own sales, they're bringing in referrals, right? Now we have, instead of supplements, we have team tasks, which are bringing in referrals and things like that. If they're doing all of that, because you clearly articulated to them the point of the mission, right? And how that is helping you contribute, and they make commission on those sales. They make bonuses, right? All of these things, they're really excited, right? And it's unlike any other job they've had before. And it's more than just clocking in, right? They understand that all of this is to contribute to the bigger picture, right? And so they have the ability to make more money, to do all of these things, and you incentivize them, right? So I hope this kind of helps show you how, when you have enough team members, and it's not just coaches on that board, it's operations managers, sales managers, they might have different goals, but everybody has the goal. And when you're able to have these conversations and you're able to articulate things, they don't know how much stuff is left on your plate. They only know about the things that you've asked them to do, right? And so if you have, 20 things that you're consistently doing, right, as an owner, right, and you have 5 employees, if you pass off 4 things to each employee, you have 0 things left, right? But they don't know. They just agreed to taking certain things off your plate. They don't know how many you have left or anything, and it's not their job to, right? And that's how you're able to start delegating the majority of what you're doing to someone else, so you can use that time to the best of your ability to grow your business, right? So here's a couple things. I'm just going to look at my notes that I would have coaches do. Bring in new customers to serve. Own those customers, their results, their customer service, renewals, all of that stuff. Provide you with testimonials like clockwork. You should have if they have 20 clients on a regular basis and you're continually giving them the new ones that you sell, there's no reason why they couldn't on a monthly basis give you one testimonial as like their trainer task. Hey guys, this month our trainer task to really help us with our mission, because testimonials bring in referrals like nothing else. Please each provide a before and after with a little snippet of how Mrs. Jones feels now compared to how she felt before she started with our gym, right? Is everybody able to do that? Great. I have my coaches program their workouts and create that amazing client experience. I don't think that I need to program all the workouts. I think that I've hired coaches that love to, right? It's their passion. They do not like running workouts that someone else wrote. They like to do their own, right? And if you trust them to do that, first of all, it provides much more diversity to your clients and their client experience because things are much different and they'll really start loving certain people's style. But secondly, it takes the burden off of you as the owner to constantly do all of that. If you still insist on programming, usually it's an ego thing, right? Sometimes it's not if you have a very high level of whatever, but usually it is, okay? Promote and sign up members for events and challenges. For a trainer task, right? If I had a big event or challenge that I was doing this month, I would give them a goal of signing up 3 of their clients or 4 of their clients. And if you have 10 coaches, that's how you get 30 to 40 people there without even trying, right? You are leveraging your team. Finally, help keep the gym looking on point and clean, right? And so if they're responsible for just cleaning up after what they've used, you're not asking them to clean anything else that anyone else used, just theirs, it should always look on point. And if they don't, right, it shows on their standards, right? And you have to make them come back in and do it on their own time, right? Because that's what you tolerate, right? If you clean it up for them, then you are showing them that you tolerate quite a lot, which means you have lower standards. Those things are directly proportional, your standards and your what you tolerate. And so anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I hope that it gives you a good idea of how, once you have this team, keep in mind, if you don't know how to get a team, right? That's what the last video we did in here, just search for it, right? But once you have your team in place, how to get your existing team to help you as the business owner, right? It's about you having those couple conversations, setting the expectations, and then holding them to those standards. Or if they're unwilling to do that and you've identified that, how you bring on somebody else that is willing to do that, which keep in mind, when you have that new interview, you're talking about all of this stuff. You don't have to ask them to do anything new. They know nothing different, right? You can just bring somebody on that this is all they know, right? And they either accept that position or they don't, right? But ultimately, within 6 months, that's the time frame I would give you, because that's exactly the time frame I took. Within 6 months, everybody is helping the team contribute to the mission, or they're not with you no more, right? And if you have somebody that is not pulling their weight, like, that is because that's what you accept, right? And now you know the way to fix it, but if you do nothing, it's because that is what you accept, And so hopefully you guys like this live. Drop a comment if you liked it, drop a thumbs up, whatever it may be. Type in live, type in replay, so I know when you guys are watching it. Hopefully you like it and you can apply it to your business like we talked about at the beginning of the video. Either you say, wow, this is really good stuff, and you apply it to your business, right? Or you say, wow, this is really good stuff, and you do nothing with it. And that's the difference between having a successful business and not, right? Again, like I say every time we go live, this is the what you need to do and why you need to do it. It works, right? If you want to know exactly how to do it, and you want us to help you every step of the way, that is exactly what the Perfect Gym model is, right? I don't just pull this stuff off the top of my head. This is what we teach day in and day out, so you can just get the fruits of your labor. Scoreboards, 4 R's documents, all of this stuff we give to you. We just give it to you. It's all done, right? And so anyways, I appreciate you guys watching this. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and I will see you guys next Monday with a new hot piece of training coming right at you. Appreciate it.